Hey guys, it's Darwin here with a full 400-mile review of the Altra Timp 1.5. Before we jump into review, I'm not sponsored or affiliated with Altra in any way. This is not a paid review, and I bought these guys, along with a couple other pairs, with my own money. Now to this point, I would think it's pretty abundantly clear I am a fan of Altra's shoes. From using multiple versions of the Lone Peak over the years to switching to the Olympus last year, I really dig me some big old fat wide toe boxes that Altra puts in their shoes. And when I made the switch out of the Lone Peak last year into the Olympus, this is the shoe that I originally wanted to try, but I couldn't find it in my size. I ended up going with the Olympus instead, and well, the rest is history. So before I went over to Scotland for my TGO challenge, I decided to finally pick up a pair of these and put them to the test. And now after about 400 miles, I think I can finally give an honest opinion about this shoe. And before we go over what I like and what I didn't like about the Timp 1.5, let's go over the specs. Just like the Lone Peak and the Olympus, the Timp 1.5 is a zero drop trail runner. And it sports that big fat wide toe box that Altra's become known for over the years. The Timp has a 29 millimeter stack height, which sits right in the middle of the Lone Peak at 25 millimeters and the Olympus at 33 millimeters. So it's basically like the middle of the road shoe when it comes to Altra's trail runners. The midsole is made of a dual layer EVA foam and features what Altra calls the Interflex, which, to be 100% honest, I have no clue what that is. The outsole is made of a DuraTread rubber and features trail claws for good grip on slick surfaces, and the Timp 1.5 has no rock plate. It has a multi-directional mesh upper and features what is basically on all of Altra shoes at this point, which is the gator trap that allows you to be able to attach a pair of trail gaiters to the back and the front of the shoe. Now, I rock a size 12.5 in men's, and on my scale, the pair comes out to 25 ounces or 709 grams. All right, I think that takes care of the basic specs of the Timp 1.5. So now let's talk about some of the things that I really fell in love with after using this for the last 400 miles, and some of the stuff that I don't dig so much about this version of this shoe. All right, so the first thing that I really dig about the Timp 1.5 is what I dig with all of Altra shoes, and it's that super wide toe box. Now, before going to the Timp 1.5, I had the Olympus, and I thought that that had the widest toe box of all the Altra shoes, and then I was pleasantly surprised that this feels much larger. And I don't know if it's exactly larger, but because of its shape, it has a little bit more of an ergonomical shape around your foot. It just feels better when your toes splay out. So I really, really like the toe box that Altra put in this shoe. The second thing that I really dig about the Timp 1.5 are these trail claw lugs. So one thing that I noticed with the Olympus is it doesn't do so great on slick surfaces, which is good because I wasn't really hiking in super slick surfaces. But when I was over in Scotland, we were hiking through a ton of different bogs where there are a lot of slick rock and slick roots, and these things gripped amazingly. Actually, out of all of the Altra shoes that I've owned, I think that this shoe has the best grip. And the third thing that I've really fallen in love with the Timp 1.5 is the ride. Now, I really dug the Lone Peak's ride for years, but ended up feeling like it didn't have enough cushion for me. Went to the Olympus, it rode great, but a ton of cushion to where sometimes I feel like I couldn't feel the trail anymore. And then this guy sits right there in the middle of the road, and I feel like they really hit the nail on the head when it comes to a super comfortable ride. One of the reasons I like going with shoes like this, with a zero drop, is I want to feel the trail. I want to feel the sticks and the rocks and the roots around me, and this allows me to do that, but still provides a nice amount of cushion. So overall, the ride of this shoe has been my favorite out of all the Altra trail runners that I've tried to this point. All right, so what don't I like about the Timp 1.5? Well, to start off, the first thing is sizing. 12.5 in a Lone Peak, perfect. 12.5 in an Olympus, amazing. 12.5 in this guy, not so much. So I tried a 12, I tried a 12.5. The 12 seemed a little bit too tight in the toe box for me, and the 12.5 seems a little loose in the heel cup. I almost need like a 12.25. So one thing to know if you're going into this shoe and you're thinking about trying it out, it does run a little bit big compared to the Lone Peak and the Olympus. The second thing I dislike about the Timp is how fast they started to wear down. Now, like I said, I have about 400 miles on these, so they're starting to break apart, the cushion's starting to break down, but at about the 200 mile mark, a lot of things started happening to this shoe. Where the shoe really tends to break down is right here where it kind of bends, where your forefoot bends. So all that mesh just starts breaking out. And I know that I'm not the only one that's having that problem, because I know a few other hikers that have been using this shoe for a while, and they all complain about the same thing, is it tends to break down right there real fast. I would expect to get a little bit more time on the trail before these things really started breaking down. So that is one thing that I was pretty disappointed in with the Timp 1.5. And the third and final thing that I really don't like about this shoe is this damn thing. Now this is a very stable shoe, and I think that this little flap back here really helps with that. It really gives your heel a little bit more stability when you're going over rocks and roots, but it gets annoying. For quite a while, I couldn't understand why certain people would take a razor blade and cut this thing off, and then unfortunately I found out why. It tends to act like a little catapult, so if you're hiking through mud or water or dirt or sand, this thing just flings crap all over the back of your legs. And I also feel like it gets caught on stuff every once in a while. I've had it catch on little roots and rocks, and it's made me stumble a little bit, so I hate this thing. Super annoying, and on some of my other Ultras I'll probably be cutting that off. So what are my final thoughts on this shoe? It rocks. I love the ride of it. I love that super wide ergonomical toe box, and I think this is my new go-to shoe. Not too little cushion, not too much cushion. I really, really dig the ride of these. I dig them so much that I recently bought a couple more pairs that I'll be using on a bunch of my future hikes, as long as they hold up, they don't wear out too fast, and when I go to buy more, I can still find them in my size. So, what shoe are you currently rocking on the trail? Which Ultra shoe is your favorite? Leave me something down below and let me know your thoughts. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.